Have you ever shared something personal with the wrong person, only to regret it later? Maybe it's a vulnerable moment, a dream, or a part of your soul, but instead of feeling lighter, you felt exposed, misunderstood, or even judged. In today's world, we're constantly encouraged to open up, whether it's on social media, in conversations, or within our relationships. Sharing has become a way to bond, to be seen, to feel understood. But have you ever stopped to wonder, does all sharing truly bring us closer to peace? What happens when we open ourselves up too much, too soon to the wrong person, or in the wrong circumstances? Instead of feeling lighter, we often end up feeling exposed, judged, or worse, disconnected. Think of your inner world as a beautiful, delicate garden, vibrant and full of potential. When you share too much, too often, without discernment, it's like opening the gate to your garden without knowing who's walking through it. Some might step carefully, respecting your space, while others could trample over what's fragile, leaving chaos in their wake. The problem isn't the act of sharing, but the lack of awareness in who you're sharing with. Not everyone is capable of handling your emotions, your deepest thoughts, or your dreams with the care they deserve. Some might see them as mere seeds they can discard. Others might twist them to fit their narrative. Over time, these careless exchanges start to take a toll, not just on your relationships, but on your own sense of self-worth and peace. At the core of this struggle is the need for balance, knowing what to protect and what to offer freely. We often share to seek approval, comfort, or connection, but we don't realize how much of ourselves we give away in the process, and what we lose in return. The beauty of true connection lies in understanding that not everything needs to be shared, and the act of protecting our peace, our vulnerabilities, and our dreams is a form of self-respect and self-care. By the end of this video, we'll explore 6 key lessons that can help guide us in what to keep private, and why guarding certain parts of ourselves is crucial for lasting peace and emotional well-being. These lessons will help you protect your inner world, giving you the wisdom to know when to speak, and when silence is truly the better path. 1. Your inner peace, guarding the sacredness of your tranquility. In the whirlwind of life, where external pressures constantly demand our attention, inner peace is often the most fragile aspect of our being. Buddhism teaches us that peace is not something we search for outside ourselves. It is cultivated within. It's easy to think that tranquility can be found in a perfect environment or through the approval of others, but true peace resides in the heart, nurtured by mindfulness and self-awareness. The challenge, however, lies in protecting that peace from the disturbances that arise when we share too much of our inner world. Consider the example of a quiet field at dawn, bathed in the gentle warmth of the rising sun. The stillness is only broken by the soft rustling of leaves in the breeze. The moment the wind picks up, however, the delicate balance of calm is disturbed, shifting the once serene landscape into disarray. Similarly, when we reveal too much of our thoughts and emotions to the world, we invite the winds of judgment and opinion to disturb the peace we've worked hard to create. This peace is like that quiet field, calm and harmonious when protected, but easily unsettled when we allow others' reactions to affect us. As the Buddha wisely said, our inner world is sacred. It's like a garden that requires constant care and attention. Just as you would protect a garden from weeds that threaten to choke its life, your inner peace must be guarded from external chaos. Every word we speak and every emotion we share has the potential to disturb our internal garden. When we constantly open ourselves to others' judgments, we risk letting their negativity or misunderstanding take root in our hearts, crowding out the calm and serenity we've carefully tended to. This is why Buddhism encourages us to choose our words and emotions carefully, especially when we open ourselves to others. If we think about it, each interaction we have is like planting a seed. When we share freely, those around us may offer their opinions, thoughts, or even judgments in return. Depending on how we receive them, these seeds can either nourish our growth or lead to resentment and doubt. The problem is that once these seeds of disturbance are planted, they can grow and flourish, overshadowing the peaceful state we once had. Therefore, it is crucial to select the people with whom we share our deepest thoughts and emotions. Not everyone has the capacity to respect the delicate nature of your peace. The lesson here is simple but profound. Guard your peace like the most precious treasure. It is easy to be swayed by the opinions of others, to be influenced by fleeting emotions, but to cultivate a calm mind is an ongoing practice of restraint. Just as a tree needs time and space to grow strong, our peace requires us to be selective about the thoughts and energy we allow to enter our mental space. To incorporate this into our daily lives, we can start with something small but powerful. Before sharing anything personal, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, will this contribute to my peace, or will it disturb the harmony I've worked so hard to create? This simple question can help guide your interactions, ensuring that you protect your tranquility while still maintaining meaningful connections with others. By practicing mindfulness in this way, we can preserve the sanctity of our inner peace and share our hearts only with those who respect the space we have carefully cultivated. In a world that constantly demands more of us, it is essential to remember that your peace is yours to protect. Like a garden, it flourishes when nurtured, but it can be easily damaged if left unattended. By choosing wisely what we share and with whom, we can preserve the tranquility that is vital to our well-being. Guard it, cherish it, and allow your peace to guide your life in every interaction. 2. Negative thoughts, guarding the power of your words. In Buddhism, it is said that your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own unguarded thoughts. Our minds are like fertile fields, where every thought we cultivate either brings us closer to peace or draws us deeper into suffering. Yet it's easy to fall into the habit of expressing negative thoughts when we feel frustrated, upset, or simply caught in the ebb and flow of life. However, Buddhism teaches us that these negative thoughts, once shared, have the potential to not only poison our own minds but also affect those around us. Picture, if you will, a vine creeping along the ground. In the beginning, it may seem harmless, but as it grows, it becomes more entangled, reaching out and smothering everything in its path. Just like that vine, negative thoughts, if nurtured and shared, will spread and choke out the positive and peaceful energy in your life. Each time you speak those thoughts, you invite them into the world, giving them a life of their own. And once they are spoken, they cannot be retracted. Their impact is permanent. This is why the Buddha emphasizes right speech, speech that is kind, true, and necessary. Before voicing negative thoughts, we must take a moment to reflect. Will this thought bring peace, or will it cause harm? If a thought does not contribute positively to your life or the lives of others, it is better to leave it unspoken. Negative words have the power to create rifts in relationships, to fuel hatred, or to deepen resentment. Once shared, these words can linger, affecting not only the person who hears them, but also the one who speaks them. Let's think about the power of words for a moment. Words are not mere sounds or phrases. They are vibrations that reverberate through the universe. Just as a single drop of water can create ripples that travel across an entire lake, a single word, spoken in anger or bitterness, can ripple through our lives and the lives of those around us. The Buddha teaches us that our words should be used to heal, not to wound. They should uplift, not diminish. When you find yourself tempted to share a negative thought, pause for a moment and reflect on its potential impact. Is this thought serving to build peace, or is it contributing to the chaos in your mind and in the world around you? Remember, words have the power to shape your reality. By choosing your speech with care, you create a world that is more peaceful, more harmonious, and more aligned with the values of compassion and understanding. The next time you catch yourself about to share a negative thought, take a breath and ask yourself, does this thought need to be spoken? Does it contribute to the well-being of others or myself? Practice replacing negative thoughts with something more constructive, whether it's gratitude, humor, or simply silence. By actively choosing to speak only what is true, necessary, and kind, you'll notice a profound shift in your relationships and your inner world. Negative thoughts can easily take root in the mind, but with mindfulness and careful attention, you can choose to silence them before they can take root and grow into something harmful. Guard your words, protect your peace, and create a space where only positivity can thrive. 3. Personal vulnerabilities, the wisdom of who to trust. In our moments of vulnerability, it is natural to seek comfort and understanding from others. When we are struggling, our instinct may be to open up, to share our fears, our weaknesses, our deepest wounds. Yet Buddhism teaches us the importance of self-awareness and discernment when it comes to sharing our vulnerabilities. Not everyone who listens has the capacity to understand, and not everyone who smiles genuinely wishes us well. Imagine for a moment a delicate glass sculpture, carefully molded and shaped with great care. It's fragile, and though beautiful, it could easily be shattered if not handled with tenderness. Similarly, our vulnerabilities are precious and fragile, like that sculpture. They require compassionate hands to receive them, and sharing them with the wrong people can lead to unnecessary pain or even betrayal. This is where the wisdom of Buddhism comes in. We are taught to be mindful of who we trust with our innermost feelings. Not everyone deserves access to your emotional world. The Buddha encourages us to recognize those who are capable of genuine compassion and kindness, those who can hold our hearts with care, without judgment or ulterior motives. Sharing our vulnerabilities with people who do not have the capacity to understand or treat them with respect only increases our suffering, and sometimes that suffering is compounded by their reactions. Think of a young tree growing in a forest. When it's still small, it needs protection from strong winds, animals, and harsh weather. But as the tree matures, it becomes more resilient and can withstand the elements. In the same way, our vulnerabilities should be shared only with those who can offer the protection and support we need, without weakening us further. Some people may not be ready to bear the weight of our emotional burdens, and sharing with them may only expose us to judgment or manipulation. Buddhism teaches us to be discerning when it comes to the trust we place in others. It's not about isolating ourselves, but rather about recognizing the value of our vulnerabilities and choosing to share them only with those who have proven themselves capable of receiving them with respect, compassion, and understanding. The true strength lies in knowing who deserves access to the most vulnerable parts of you, and in protecting that sacred space. Take a moment today to reflect on the people in your life with whom you share your deepest thoughts and fears. Ask yourself, do they listen with compassion? Are they trustworthy and capable of holding my vulnerabilities with care? If the answer is no, consider whether it's time to create boundaries around those areas of your life. Practice opening up only to those who have shown the ability to nurture and respect your emotional well-being. Your vulnerabilities are not weaknesses. They are simply parts of your journey that need protection, understanding, and growth. Like that young tree, you must choose who you allow to help you weather the storms. Be mindful of where you place your trust and protect your emotional landscape with the wisdom of discernment. 4. Future plans, the power of silent action. In a world that thrives on instant gratification and external validation, sharing our future plans has become almost a reflex. We eagerly talk about our ambitions, our dreams, and the goals we hope to achieve, often seeking encouragement or recognition. However, Buddhism offers a different perspective. Attachment to the future is considered one of the primary causes of suffering. By constantly talking about our plans and goals, we not only create expectations for ourselves, but also for others, which can add unnecessary pressure and lead to frustration. Picture the growth of a seed in the soil. The seed's potential to become a mighty tree is hidden beneath the earth, invisible to the world. It grows in silence, with no need for anyone's approval or acknowledgement. If we constantly expose that seed to the world before it has had a chance to take root, we risk disturbing its natural growth. Similarly, when we speak too much about our plans before they've fully developed, we expose them to outside opinions, doubts, and distractions that may prevent them from growing as they should. Buddhism teaches us that silence is a powerful ally in the pursuit of our goals. When we keep our future plans to ourselves and focus on taking consistent, deliberate action, we protect our vision from the influence of others. By letting our actions speak for us, we free ourselves from the pressure of external expectations and allow our plans to unfold naturally. The Buddha's teachings emphasize that attachment to the future, whether it's in the form of expectations or worries, leads us away from the present moment. Instead of projecting too far ahead, we are encouraged to be present, to focus on each step we take, and to trust that the future will come in its own time, shaped by our actions in the here and now. Next time you feel the urge to share your future plans with others, take a step back. Reflect on whether talking about them will help or hinder your progress. Practice moving forward in silence. Focus on the small, daily actions that will bring your vision to life. Let your work, rather than your words, become the true reflection of your ambitions. By giving yourself the freedom to act quietly and diligently, you'll find that the most powerful achievements come not from declaration, but from quiet persistence. In the same way that a tree grows stronger with each passing day, let your plans grow in the silence of your steady actions, and watch them flourish without the need for external validation. 6. Your deepest beliefs and spiritual practices, protecting the sacredness of your journey. In a world where opinions are often loudly voiced and judgments are easily cast, our deepest beliefs and spiritual practices can easily become targets for misunderstanding, criticism, or even ridicule. While spirituality is deeply personal and sacred, It's tempting to share these practices with others in the hope of validation or recognition. Yet, Buddhism teaches us that spirituality is a sacred journey that requires protection from the winds of judgment, because our spiritual practices are the most intimate expressions of our true selves. Think of a secret garden, hidden from the eyes of the world, where the flowers bloom in silence, nourished by the sunlight of devotion and love. The beauty of this garden is not for show. It is nurtured in solitude, away from the harshness of external scrutiny. Similarly, our spiritual practices, whether it's meditation, prayer, or moments of reflection, need to be nurtured in a space of silence and respect. When shared too freely or too openly, they risk losing their sacredness, becoming diluted or tainted by the opinions of others who may not understand or appreciate the depth of our practice. Just like a sacred flame that needs protection from the wind, our spirituality thrives when kept protected and respected. The more we share it with those who are not ready or able to understand, the more vulnerable it becomes to criticism, misinterpretation, or even mockery. The Buddha encourages us to keep our spiritual journey private, allowing it to grow and flourish in quietude, where it is shielded from the superficiality of external judgments. The lesson here is simple yet profound. Guard your spiritual practices like you would guard a precious treasure. Spirituality is not for display, it is for personal transformation. Just as we protect our most sacred beliefs and practices, we should also respect others' spiritual paths and not feel the need to constantly share or prove our beliefs to the world. When we share our spiritual practices with others, it should come from a place of genuine inspiration, not a desire for approval. When we speak of our beliefs, let it be in a way that offers insight and inspiration without imposing them on others. Respect the sacredness of your journey and that of others, and create space for your beliefs to grow in the quiet corners of your heart. Today, reflect on your own spiritual practice. Consider if you've been oversharing your personal beliefs or spiritual experiences with others, seeking validation or approval. Commit to keeping a part of your spiritual journey private, nurturing it in a space of silence and reverence. Spend time in quiet meditation or reflection, and allow your practice to deepen without needing to explain or justify it to others. By protecting the sacredness of our spiritual practices, we allow them to evolve into something pure, untainted, and deeply transformative. Like the hidden garden or the flame in the wind, the more we shield our beliefs from unnecessary exposure, the more we protect their essence and power. Let your journey be one of quiet, personal exploration, knowing that the deepest wisdom is often the one shared not in words, but in the stillness of the heart. 6. Your deepest beliefs and spiritual practices, protecting the sacredness of your journey. In a world where opinions are often loudly voiced and judgments are easily cast, our deepest beliefs and spiritual practices can easily become targets for misunderstanding, criticism, or even ridicule. While spirituality is deeply personal and sacred, it's tempting to share these practices with others in the hope of validation or recognition. Yet, Buddhism teaches us that spirituality is a sacred journey that requires protection from the winds of judgment, because our spiritual practices are the most intimate expressions of our true selves. Think of a secret garden, hidden from the eyes of the world, where the flowers bloom in silence, nourished by the sunlight of devotion and love. The beauty of this garden is not for show. It is nurtured in solitude, away from the harshness of external scrutiny. Similarly, our spiritual practices, whether it's meditation, prayer, or moments of reflection, need to be nurtured in a space of silence and respect. When shared too freely or too openly, they risk losing their sacredness, becoming diluted or tainted by the opinions of others who may not understand or appreciate the depth of our practice. Just like a sacred flame that needs protection from the wind, our spirituality thrives when kept protected and respected. The more we share it with those who are not ready or able to understand, the more vulnerable it becomes to criticism, misinterpretation, or even mockery. The Buddha encourages us to keep our spiritual journey private, allowing it to grow and flourish in quietude, where it is shielded from the superficiality of external judgments. The lesson here is simple yet profound. Guard your spiritual practices like you would guard a precious treasure. Spirituality is not for display, it is for personal transformation. Just as we protect our most sacred beliefs and practices, we should also respect others' spiritual paths and not feel the need to constantly share or prove our beliefs to the world. When we share our spiritual practices with others, it should come from a place of genuine inspiration, not a desire for approval. When we speak of our beliefs, let it be in a way that offers insight and inspiration without imposing them on others. Respect the sacredness of your journey and that of others, and create space for your beliefs to grow in the quiet corners of your heart. Today, reflect on your own spiritual practice. Consider if you've been oversharing your personal beliefs or spiritual experiences with others, seeking validation or approval. Commit to keeping a part of your spiritual journey private, nurturing it in a space of silence and reverence. Spend time in quiet meditation or reflection, and allow your practice to deepen without needing to explain or justify it to others. By protecting the sacredness of our spiritual practices, we allow them to evolve into something pure, untainted, and deeply transformative. Like the hidden garden or the flame in the wind, the more we shield our beliefs from unnecessary exposure, the more we protect their essence and power. Let your journey be one of quiet, personal exploration, knowing that the deepest wisdom is often the one shared not in words, but in the stillness of the heart. Conclusion: protecting your inner world, the power of silence and discernment. As we journey through life, we are often drawn into the whirlwind of constant sharing. Our thoughts, our emotions, our dreams, seeking connection and validation. Yet in the process of exposing our innermost selves, we may unknowingly invite unnecessary chaos, judgment, and even pain. True peace comes not from sharing everything with the world, but from understanding what to protect and who to trust with our most sacred parts. Imagine your mind as a sanctuary, a space where your peace can thrive and your soul can rest. Like any sacred space, it must be treated with reverence and care. Not every person is deserving of access to this sanctuary, and some things are meant to be kept within, not to be shared in the open. When we choose wisely what to share, we allow our inner world to remain undisturbed and nurtured, fostering growth and peace in ways that no external validation can achieve. In learning to protect our inner peace, we become masters of our own emotional landscape. We realize that true strength doesn't lie in constant disclosure or in seeking validation, but in the wisdom of silence, knowing when to speak and when to keep our thoughts and feelings close to our heart. It's about honoring the delicate balance between connection and self-preservation, between vulnerability and resilience. Now, as you move forward from this moment, consider this. What are you willing to protect about yourself? What boundaries will you set, not out of fear, but out of respect for your inner peace? The next time you're faced with a choice to share or to remain silent, ask yourself, will this sharing nurture my growth, or will it disturb my peace? In that pause, in that moment of choice, lies the power to create a life of deeper tranquility and intentional connection. If this resonates with you, take a moment to reflect on your own journey. Protect your peace, guard your sacred space, and share only with those who truly respect your inner world. If you found these teachings valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Infinite Buddhist Teachings for more insights into living a life of peace and mindfulness. Stay mindful, stay kind, and remember, your inner world is your greatest treasure. Let it flourish.